you look at the greatest leaders in all of history, both good and evil, you will notice that they are all, without exception, tied together by a common thread: a clear and powerful vision. Whether it was Martin Luther King Jr. and his dream of an America that provided liberty and justice for all, regardless of race or color, or Alexander's vision of a world united under a single banner, or Elon Musk's vision of an interplanetary species, liberated from its limitations through the power of technology, or even Hitler's vision of a Nazi utopia enjoyed only by those with the genetic privilege of being born into his so-called master race. All men of meaning and significance, whether paragons or demons, use the power of vision to rally the support, trust, and loyalty of their followers. And in our modern world, it is the men who have clarity on their vision and the values driving that vision who do both great and terrible things. And creating this clarity is an essential pillar of developing your masculine leadership. Because without clearly defined values and a vivid vision for the future you're creating, you will default into the values and vision thrust upon you by society. And in our modern world, that default is one of spiritual slavery. Although it's important to understand how this component of masculine identity impacts the women in your life, how it creates a sense of safety and trust, how it alleviates stress and anxiety and uncertainty because she feels comfortable following your lead, both in the big picture and in the small day-to-day decisions. What is far more important is how it impacts you as a man. Because one of the most commonly overlooked truths inside of the masculine-feminine dynamic is that the men who achieve the most success inside of their relationship, who attract and keep the affection, loyalty, and support of a high-quality woman, who enjoy the most fulfilling and exciting sex lives without the drama and bullshit that dominates so many men's realities, is that they are leading themselves for themselves. They don't craft grandiose visions in hopes of attracting a high-quality partner. They don't set goals simply because they think women will appreciate it. They don't do any of the things that they do for the approval of the feminine. They do it for themselves. And yet, paradoxically, the more selfish a man is in this regard, the more confidently he can state to his woman or anyone else, "This is who I am, this is where I'm going, this is what I'm doing. You can join me or not, but it doesn't change my purpose," the more attractive and powerful he becomes. So as you're going through this module and the exercises within it, I want you to remember that this is about you. It's about your life, your desires, and your vision. And frankly, I don't care what vision you develop or what values you determine for yourself. It doesn't matter if you want to be a billionaire tycoon or retire early in your 30s and spend the rest of your life drinking margaritas on a beach and teaching tourists how to surf. What matters is that it is true and authentic to you, that you would pursue this vision whether or not it was attractive to the partner that you want. Because when you're living in your truth and pursuing your deepest desires with clarity and purpose, it will naturally attract the right people into your life and filter the wrong ones out of it. Ultimately, this process, and indeed all masculine development, is simply about freedom. It's about living a life by design, not default, and manifesting a reality you desire, rather than settling or defaulting for the existence handed to you by the circumstances of your birth. Now, simply hearing this might be triggering anxiety in some of you. Luckily, by now you know how to respond to that. But you might be thinking, I don't really know what I want. I don't know the type of life I want to create or the impact that I want to have on the world. And the good news is, you don't need to. To quote Steve Jobs, you can't connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking backwards. So you have to trust that the dots will somehow connect in your future. You have to trust in something, your gut, destiny, life, karma, whatever. This approach has never let me down, and it has made all of the difference in my life. The important thing is not that you have a clear 5-year plan, knowing exactly what you want to achieve and how you're going to achieve it. Because I can tell you from experience, that shit rarely works. In a single year, your life can change so radically and unexpectedly that every vision or goal you've set for yourself becomes obsolete. Now, this doesn't mean that you shouldn't set a clear vision, but rather that we must approach the topic of vision from a different angle. Rather than attempting to peer into a crystal ball and magically figure out exactly what your life is going to look like or what you're going to do, our job is simply to look a few feet ahead and find the next few steps. And to do this, there are only two things that we need. The first is something I call inverting the default model. Because in our modern world, there is an unspoken default model of success, happiness, and life. First, you have the things that you want: the money, the house, the wife, the car, the job, so you can do the things you want. The vacations, the experiences, the parties, the sex, so that you can then be the person you want to be. The problem is, this doesn't work, because it's fundamentally backward. And so many men get lost in this model, focusing all of their time and attention on having the things that they want, so that they can be happy or fulfilled or joyful. But they fail to realize that the things they want to have are not the goal in and of themselves, but a byproduct of who they become along the journey. For example, a mentor of mine named Mike Dillard, who's built multiple businesses to 20 million in revenue and beyond, was once stuck working as a waiter at P.F. Chang's. And when he talked to his mentor about wanting to become financially free and build a business that would afford him the lifestyle he wanted, the response he received was not what he expected. His mentor told him, "Mike, the reason you don't have $1 million business is because you are not yet the type of man who deserves $1 million business. You aren't creating enough value in the marketplace because you don't have the skills. You aren't capable of delivering that type of value yet. Focus on becoming a more valuable man and delivering more value to the world, and the money will follow." And this is where people get vision wrong. Because setting a clear vision is not about what you want to have or do. It's about getting clear on the type of man you must become, identifying the traits, characteristics, habits, and virtues that you must embody so that the external outcomes you desire become an inevitable byproduct. Instead of focusing on the stuff and the end goals, first ask yourself, what kind of man must I become to achieve those outcomes? For example, if you want to attract and keep a strong, high-quality woman in your life, you must first become a strong and high-quality man. You must develop discipline, drive, empathy, boundaries, and masculine leadership. And if you want to achieve financial freedom and enjoy all of the perks that come from having fuck you money, you must first become the type of man who is capable of achieving that goal. Specifically, developing financial prudence, improving your decision-making, learning how to provide value to the market, and becoming focused on solving problems for other people. At the end of the day, everything in your life and everything not in your life is simply a reflection of the man that you are right now. Thankfully, as we've already discovered, you are not defined by your past, and in any moment you can choose to be a new man, and thereby to do different things and have a different life. In today's exercise, I'll help you implement this concept practically to get clear on the life that you want and who you need to be to create it. But first, we move on to the second step, becoming a thematic visionary. Once you understand the power of your way of being, the second step in fully embodying the clarity piece of masculinity is to develop what I call a thematic vision. Determining the type of man you must be to achieve what you want can be difficult if you don't actually know what you want. In a world where you can have, do, and be almost anything, it's becoming harder and harder to figure out what the hell anything means for you. But by concentrating on thematic relevance and principles over concrete outcomes, we can quickly simplify this process. When I use the term thematic visionary, I'm referring to a type of vision that allows for uncertainty and change, while still holding tight to the important values that will allow you to create the life you want. Rather than focusing on a specific outcome like a type of job or a specific income level or living in a certain area, we instead focus on the core themes and principles that fuel our desire and vision. For example, a few things that make up my own vision are self-reliance and freedom. I know that I don't enjoy working for other people or being beholden to someone else's vision or schedule. And this theme of self-reliance and freedom allows me to create a loose picture of the type of life and career I want to experience. One where I set my hours, I control my days, and I decide what to do and when to do it. Similarly, I value health and performance, and even though I don't know exactly what workout program to follow or what diet to try for the next 10 years, I know that health and performance are integral themes in my ideal life, allowing me to make decisions and move in the direction of improved health and greater performance. And finally, I value joy and deliberation. And even though I don't know exactly what I want this business to look like 5 years from now, what products I want to create next, what I want my marriage to be like, or exactly what lifestyle I want to be living, I know that I want my life to be filled with joy and to have the time and space to think deeply and live deliberately. And having this theme in mind allows me to determine what I will say yes to and what I will avoid. And the reason that thematic living is so powerful is that it allows for the real world to unfold before you while giving you a guiding light and a clear set of boundaries upon which you can base your decisions. If you know that your vision is dominated by the theme of freedom, leisure, and joy, it becomes easy to say no to the high-paying but soul-crushing job that reduces all three of those things. Inversely, if you know that your vision right now is dominated by the theme of financial independence, wealth, and power, you may very well decide to take that job and suffer in silence for a short amount of time to achieve the wealth and power necessary to live out the life that you want. There are no right or wrong answers here, only what is right or wrong for you. However, by focusing on the themes you want to experience in your life, it becomes easier to make decisions, determine what to pursue, and know when to say no. Which brings me to today's action steps. In the worksheet for this module, you're going to find a series of questions and prompts to help you identify who you must become and begin implementing a thematic vision for your life. Set aside at least 20 to 30 minutes of quiet time to go through these questions one by one and begin creating a clearer picture of who you must become to start experiencing the life you want. Remember, everything that you want to achieve and experience in this life is a direct byproduct of your way of being. It's a reflection of your character and who you are as a man. When you fix this, everything else falls into place. So take these questions seriously, and I'll see you back here later for the next module.